and more video game earworms that'll never leave me alone! As with the previous video, this is not a roundup of my favorite video game music as such, but rather the most insidious pieces that get in my cranium and refuse to leave, although some of them are also tracks that I like quite a lot. I will be showing gameplay from and occasionally discussing narrative elements of the focal games, so if you'd like to duck spoilers, a list of games for which I'm showing footage is in the description. Let's do this! Number 10. Incidentally, probably also my favorite piece from Celeste, Scattered and Lost, which plays in the latter part of the Celestial Resort Hotel, is a banger! I almost don't need to say anything more than Lena Rain, but I will anyway. The main piano riff starts with this little heroic climb up before turning into something a little more somber and reflective. I don't know any music theory, but I bet that if the little piano lick was just that first part, ba-da-da-da, then it would sound a lot more straight through righteous or hopeful, but every tiny triumph seems undercut by the notes falling back down right after. It manages to be motivating whilst still highlighting the uncomfortable nature of the awkward interactions between our hero and Oshiro. Further, the little one step forward, one step back approach to the mood of this piece could accurately replicate a number of narrative elements in the game. Is it Oshiro's push and pull with priding himself on the hotel and fearing Madeline refusing his offer? Is it Madeline grappling with Madeline being let out into the real world for the first time? Or even just the awkward tug of war between Madeline and Oshiro? And how about that synth that dances between ears but doesn't always spend a symmetrical amount of time on each side? Before I know it, I'm thinking about this piece again, and humming it again. And listening to it again. Much like the other level soundtracks in Celeste, the music develops as you progress, generally getting busier and matching the intensity of the challenge and narrative. The way it proceeds is super satisfying, but it means there's a lot for any would-be hummer to keep track of, and some of those synthy notes are just impossible to make with your mouth face. I've tried, so I've simply got to listen to it again. The progression is so satisfying in part because it reminds you of the kinetic feeling of scraping by each danger, all culminating in the chase with Oshiro, the same melody playing, but this time it's straining under the weight of all these crashing cymbals and wild drum runs. It's just too good! Number 9.
Jack knew the trouble he was in, so he demanded the chefs make great haste. But, as always, they took their own good time.
Chronicles, as well as its DS sequel, has some wonderfully sprightly Celtic-inspired music. composed by the brilliant Kumi Tanioka. And this piece in particular is enchantingly Hang on. Did you say Kumi Tanioka? After we just had Lena Rain. They both worked on the Minecraft soundtrack. Huh. Anyway, this piece is sort of exotic and intriguing, but enchantingly plodding, with a slow, repetitive rhythm that mimics the tonberries that take their own good time. As with all the area themes, it begins with a short, loopable intro that serves as the abstract for the rest of the piece to come, and allows the fairy tale narrator a moment to speak before the main melody kicks in.
If not, what greater horror could possibly await us?
That means this didgeridoo-y, clarinet-y thing always kicks in right at the title sequence, which makes it all the more unforgettable, as if that addictive melody wasn't insidious enough. What's more, this level is crazy confusing the first few times you play it. Unlike most levels which have a set beginning and end point, in this one your objective is to kill all the tonberries, which gets Jack angry, and then you fight him and Maggie. Why our intrepid caravaner needs to do all this instead of just sneaking around back to get the myrrh from the tree is anyone's guess, and as the game never tells you you're supposed to be killing these guys, there's a good chance you'll be wandering around here for a while, very confused. And it's not the easiest level either. The courtyard is full of these rabid gargoyles. Basically every monster has some form of attack that can stagger you, such that if you don't proc a cure magicite, your health is gonna plummet, no matter how good your defense stat is. You'll get whacked over and over and over. Jack's no pushover either, able to whip around and clothesline you while you're still in recovery frames from your own attack. All in all, it's hardly one of the easier levels, and quite labyrinthine, especially the first time. Plus, if you're playing single player, you'll be doing a lot of waiting around for the tribal tiles to change to yours, so expect to get this track real deep in that there skull of yours. Number 8! Near the end of Mother 3, you come face to face with the BBEG Porky, a guy from the last game whose mother was not very nice to him, and in case you haven't played either of these games, let's just say that that's kind of important. Try Kinda Hard is a theme from a very small portion of the game in which you're tested on whether or not you're worthy to meet with Porky. In reality, what they're testing is if you'll pretend to be dumber than him so as not to harm his precious ego, and to that effect they make you play a few little carnival games and lose by a small margin so that he thinks he won fair and square. So you have to hear it a few times in-game, 3 ordinarily, and more if you mess it up. It's got a short loop, it's a comical little circusy tune that's full of little fanfare-esque chimes, and the melody consists of mostly one instrument, so it's sickeningly easy to hum. Is my imagination, or is it kind of similar to the distraction dance from the Henry Stickmin series? Anyway, it's so brief and repeatedly consumable, it's like this theme is emblematic of the hyper-consumerism going on in the Nowhere Islands over the course of the game. And I'm losing! I'm losing to capitalism! I could be over here listening to Unfounded Revenge. Or dare I say, Megami! You know that it's the Megami! You know you're fighting Megami! And you know that it's Mechadrol. You know that now you're fighting Megamo. it's Mech-a-Mo, it's the Mech-a-Mo, it's the Mech-a-Mo. This game has a lot of bangers anyway, but Try Kinda Hard is the most cursed one. What's even more insufferable is that the theme is designed perfectly for a high-stakes, high-speed minigame, which makes it all the more agonizing that you have to slowly advance, pretending to lose by a photo finish hairline near victory kind of score difference. Ah, get out of my head!
When will this nightmare end?
Number 7. You wouldn't know it from my petulant outbursts in our ongoing Spirit of Justice Let's Play. How the find this stupid motherfucking email? F this whole fucking game. F me, I guess. What the fuck are you talking about? But why are you only telling me about it now? I forgot! Apollo! Jesus H. Christ! But I actually love Ace Attorney. Dual Destinies was a strong entry in my opinion, with some truly great tunes. There's Athena's incredibly malleable theme that plays several times throughout the story. There's, of course, the Bang and Pursuit theme that makes you feel like the greatest hero who ever lived. And a smattering of other incidental themes. But we're here to talk about this game's victory theme, won the case everyone's victory. Victory themes in Ace Attorney games generally play at the end of a case and signify the resolution of a conflict, a whole set of happy faces, and some really catastrophically dark bad endings averted. Everyone's victory has all kinds of pretty upbeat layering harmonies and melodies, with the beat kept by these tippity-tappity tambourines and drum lines that wouldn't be out of place in, like, a light reality TV show about decorating your doghouse with little butterfly stickers and rainbows? It's just so airy and jaunty. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 ba-dum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. All of that does a good piece make, but I think what pushes this over the edge is that this track, like many video game pieces, is designed to loop, and so it perfectly resolves back to the first note at the end, prompting the roller coaster to start all over. That said, on the official soundtrack version of the track, it does actually have an end. Listen. So that sounded perfect, but now listen to how perfect it sounds in the in-game looped version. It is somehow the perfect ending and carrying on point. So you go around once, twice, thrice, quadrice, and you never stop.
Number 6.
So in an extraordinarily normal twist of events, there's a dogfighting minigame in Super Monkey Ball 2, the game in which you roll terrified simians around in orbs on courses that should reduce all of their internal organs and external everything to a profoundly fine powder. But it's made by Sega, which means the music will be all like... The music of this game is amazing. I heckin' love this slick, contemplative Inside the Whale theme. The blissful, carefree Monkey Target 2 theme. The funky, upbeat Boilin' Pot theme. The intense pump up that is the Monkey Fight 2 select screen. And a whole bunch of others in this track. Monkey Dogfight is also a banger. But it's so aggravatingly catchy because it's probably not even my top 10 favorite themes in this game, and yet it gets hooked in there. It's basically just one or two guitar riffs playing with a bunch of layering synths on top, but it's so clean and not a single part is wasted. It just knows exactly when to bring that maximally grungy guitar in and when to give it a rest, and it's all... And then the synth does the main guitar line for like one line, it's all like... And then the guitar comes in, it's all like, hey, that's my bit! So goddamn cool! And of course, if you've played the game, you'll remember the intensity of tumbling around the sky, diving for the pineapples and bananas to replenish your stock before your rivals, all while your ears are just being smothered by "Walk on! Fire! Missile attack! Rico! Jump! Go!" It's truly unforgettable. And to be fair to this track, it's not just a brilliantly made, direly catchy melody and all, but this is also the exact perfect music to play over a baby with a chain gun. This is just what that sounds like. Super Monkey Ball 2's music is incredible, friend. It just is. Basically, every musical choice in this game was good, except the inexplicable decision to make the fanfares in Monkey Target 2 work like this.
Excellent.
Number 5. I don't think it's ever come up, but I kinda dig the Pikmin series. I've gushed before about how Pikmin 2's utterly bizarre experimental style, complete with the most Nintendo-y of dynamic music, is thrilling to me. The way the soundtracks add and subtract instruments, or play at a different rhythm based on elements like if enemies are nearby, if your Pikmin are occupied with a task, what your health is like, the time of day, what character you're playing as, etc., really ties the whole experience together in my opinion. If you really want to hear the music have an existential crisis, have Olimar and Louis lie idle beside each other so that you can swap between them quickly without the animation, and listen to the music try and keep up. Or just get yourself brutalized in a fight. The notes go all funny when you do that. But I'll try not to go too in-depth. Most Pikmin fans are somehow crazier than I, and have already made wonderful videos on the topic. It bears noting that the music normally plays too quiet if you ask me in this game, so I've turned the sound effects way down for these clips. Back on track, not unlike the Celeste piece from earlier, this game's habit of starting pieces really spacey and loose with room for more percussion is very satisfying in-game. The rhythm changing to a more offbeat, like, swing rhythm, I guess? I don't know, music for when you're playing as Louis is perfect because he is chaos incarnate and has a mysterious shadowy background. He's kind of like, he's basically Heath Ledger's Joker.
I'm gonna make this disappear.
So the music bending out of shape to accommodate that, while the rhythm is much more straightforward as Olimar, the dreamy but practical captain, meshes musical storytelling perfectly to the action, but makes it impossibly complex to try and hum to oneself to get it out of one's head. Look, I'm just saying, I don't know how to hum this. So the only solution is to listen to the track again. No, I would never hear the battle version that long. This version on YouTube doesn't feel right. Well, I'll just have to play the game again, and it's 4 AM. Bloody hell. Well, it could be worse. I could miss time an electric fence and lose a third of my squad all at once. That's number 4! I wouldn't necessarily say that Spirit Tracks is the best Zelda game, gameplay-wise, nor soundtrack-wise. But both certainly have their moments. For example, it reuses the cave theme from Phantom Hourglass, which, while moodily appropriate, is also a sort of not very impactful 6-second loop. But how can you forget the Froz boss theme? Or that adventurous Spirit Tower theme. All the nice little town themes. Some of the duets are sweet. And the train music, oh, the train music! Whoever decided that the train sound effects should sync up with the overworld theme is nothing short of genius. But also that they notably don't sync up with any of the other train music. So this game has a lot of great music, but we're here for In the Fields, the generic outdoor theme. It's composed with short notes and sparse, light instrumentation. It's what, like an acoustic guitar, a pan flute, some other wind instrument, and a tambourine? It's like 3 or 4 instruments, and yet it gives this perfect image of dashing through vales and hail for a tale, unassailed by mail. Not unlike other pieces in this game and many other Nintendo games, it's also dynamic, changing instruments out when you go into a house, for instance. And if you've watched the rest of the video up till this point, you'll likely know why this is wickedly cool, and also pure evil for my poor tiny brain. Being the generic theme for several areas in this game, you hear this short tune a lot, making it easy to get stuck in with it. Also, unless I'm mistaken, this is the only Zelda game where you can get Zelda to deliberately kill you just by being an annoying bastard? Which instantaneously awards the soundtrack plus 1 million unforgettability points. And what's more, this is one of those video game tracks with a short intro that is only played the first time since the track's loop. Those first 8 notes only happen at the start, in a kind of inverse of the chaos that everyone's victory unleashes upon me. Figures we'd have another Zelda so soon.
Double 3.
Ah, Endless Ocean. 80% edutainment game, 17% fantasy collectathon, 3% horror game. This game is kind of the definition of they did not need to go this hard, but they did anyway. The cetacean training theme plays during the absolute worst part of the game, which is, you guessed it, the cetacean training. I think it's safe to say the overall pace of this game is slow. For instance, would you like to see what this game's idea of a QuickTime event is? I've never seen someone with such quick reflexes underwater! Most of the enemies aren't up to much and miss every time if you swim slightly above them. So yeah, most things don't happen quickly in this game, but this minigame is so dull they literally give you a button that plays it for you, which you're going to want to exercise liberally if you intend to finish certain questlines or get all the titles. So why did they give it such a memorable theme? The blockheads. It's got a poppy, like, spa jazz vibe with these adorable cowbells kind of parroting the brass section partway through, and it basically just stays at the same energy level throughout, for its runtime of a little over a minute. Once again, there are so many wonderful pieces on this soundtrack, from incidental themes that occasionally play wherever you're swimming, to the prep screen theme. And several scripted pieces. Including some absolutely gorgeous Celtic folk music, which is licensed, so I can only play you half a second of it. There, I think you get the gist. So why is this... look, my Wii U went into screen saving mode because you have to leave it here for so long before you see any progress. So yeah, Endless Dolphin Music Blue Admiral, or Endless Dolphin Music 2 Adventures of Tedium if you're in PAL regions, or Forever Bored, Call of the Dolphin Music if you're in Japan, is a fiendish malady. And now, let me play you the shark alarm sound effect for 10 seconds for no real reason except to illustrate that as someone with light salacophobia, recording this video was a deeply scarring experience.
Ooh.
Goemon's Great Adventure is outstandingly awesome. You can play as a ninja with a grappling hook pipe, a robot that attacks with his hair, a mermaid with a bazooka, a giant robot who punches the ever-loving lights out of other giant robots, and a Bismaru, whatever they are. And if that doesn't sound awesome, it's because you didn't hear me say you can be a mermaid with a bazooka. It also has a magical soundtrack riddled with pump-up jams to get you in the mood for high-stakes platforming. Let's roll some of the wonderful other themes. And you gotta love how the music changes depending on the time of day. especially when you're out in the field and the music slows to a halt as night falls, like its batteries are running out. On the topic of the Underworld castle theme, it's friggin' great. It's amazing. I consider myself deeply amazed by it. It's so good. Maybe my favorite track in the whole game. To quote Dashi,
Who the f was in the studio?
the relentless percussion in this music is quintessentially Goemon, matching the speed at which split-second decisions have to be made and the intensity you feel in these castle missions. Much like the other castle themes, it has multiple parts, getting more intense as the level goes on. Deja vu. For instance, have a listen to Edo Castle, the first castle in the game, where you have to race to the top while the building burns to stop your own giant robot from trashing the place. Part 1 of Underworld Castle is intense enough. You're running through, cutting monsters in half when this giant thing starts smashing up the ground. Who is this? Are they ever brought up again? No. But you better get the hell out of the way. Kick down a door and keep running, and what's that? Oh, the music went from an 11 to like a 14.5? And the music in this place had better rock because it's evil. Who puts a cliff this close to the loading zone? You monsters. It's hard to overstate just how much I love this soundtrack, but I also kind of find it hard to explain just what it is that makes it so infinitely listenable to me. It's just intense and powerful and makes you feel like a badass ninja. And going back to the whole multiple parts thing, most castles have an outro version that plays right in the room before the boss, where the action kind of gets pared back and you get a simplified version of the beat to sort of Pied Piper you along into the boss room. Let you know you're in the home stretch. For instance, in Edo Castle, right before the end, you get this thrilling little beat. For some reason, in the Underworld Castle outro, it just goes all James Bond. Which is cool, but for me, Underworld Castle Part 2 is the top dog, and it'll never leave me alone until the day I die. Persona has some fantabulous music. Scientific example. I know all the words to reach out to the truth of my life and sicken disease on the whole moment to now break away. And I haven't even played Persona 4. Persona 1 is no different, with plenty of light tunes to accompany story scenes. menacing dungeon themes. And of course, battle themes. We're Here for School Days, a song heard a lot early in the game, and occasionally throughout. This song plays in the school during the opening of the game when you're still meeting all the characters and getting used to the very, very weird isometric angle-induced controls. Between that and the fact that you run at light speed in the hallways and you're able to slam into the walls. Not to mention the fact that this theme also plays in the agonizingly slow and terrifically rigged casino portions of the game means that you hear this song a lot when you're trying to think about or focus on other things, weaseling it into your RO holes while your guard is down. It's also one of a few songs in this game where it's only once the credits roll that you go, oh, that's what the lyrics meant by that. All that aside, the song itself is just straightforwardly catchy. This song is short, the beat is sick, something persona stick, poppy synths, the vocals hit hard on every beat, there's some jaunty little piano action going on, just ticks some boxes all in all.
Whoa! What the hell? Where'd the room go?
Phew! Got through another 10. If you've played any of the games on this list, are there any other tracks from said game that are easy earworm material that I missed? These games aside, are there any other video game tracks that have been banging around in your head lately? Feel free to let us all know down you know where. As for me, I mentioned in the previous list that I had trouble narrowing it down to just 10, and that's still true this time around. I have enough pieces for a part 3 and 4 as it stands, and that'll only grow, so there may be another of these on the horizon. That's all from me, friends! Take care!
You're crazy. I'm not. No, I'm not.
I was right about one thing, though. Only those of the royal bloodline can be spirit mediums in Karai. Common folk like us are out of luck. Yeah, I guess so. Still, I think I'll finally be close to connecting all the dots once I point out one very big thing out. Okay, now that makes it sound like I'm supposed to point out that Amar's still alive. Okay, sorry. I'm just being